Hello, everybody, and welcome back. Another live reaction of the Wednesday Night Wars. But today we're only going to look at one side of the war, if you will, and that's going to be AEW. The reason why I had to do some work for school I'm working at for. I'm an assistant drumline instructor, and we're doing stuff virtually, and I couldn't watch NXT like I normally do or AEW or anything. So that's the reason John watched AEW, and he's going to give his reactions, and I'll give my thoughts too for that. And
But before we even get into that, Matt, we should might as well talk about this. And like we didn't think that this was going to be happening this soon, but it looks like we are in fact getting Adam Cole versus Karrion Cross, um, at some point. Because at the end
yeah,
of the show, we saw Scarlett Bordeaux. She put down an hourglass right in front of Adam Cole, who was facing Dexter Loomis. I'm pretty sure. So yeah, they are strapping this rocket ship to Carrying Cross, and if this does in fact happen, I will be stunned
there's
if
going to
he
be
is not the NXT
yes.
champion.
Oh yes, done. I will throw. I will. If you could see my setup here with my laptop, a mic, yeah, second mic, this mic, soundboard, and a TV, and all this crap. If he does not beat Adam Cole, it is flipped. Um,
Yeah,
the
yeah.
the
I
big
I
thing,
just
yeah, the big thing with this between the two companies is that in terms of the big man, if NXT strapping the Rocket, which is completely obvious of how he handled Champa at Takeover or in your house,
yeah.
whatever, he's
There
gonna win.
was a very good reason why he just ran through him within like 7 or
Right.
8 minutes. Like the
Don's like, don't be like AEW where they're big men in their first. How do I want to say this? First big main event, big match,
Mhm.
lose
Yeah.
given
Well,
circumstances. But
honestly, after tonight, man, I think and we'll get into that shortly, but I think there's a good possibility now. I'm feeling like we could see Brian Cage possibly win the title now. And I'll kind of give you my reasoning once we get to that. But yeah, I mean, like Karrion Cross is probably my favorite part of NXT. Just him and Scarlett, and I said this on the takeover stream, was like they just stand out from everything else going
yes,
on, just with the personas, with how they are presented. Not to mention he does not wrestle long matches, which is not a bad thing in my opinion, just because for so often we just see so many of these things where they're like 15 or 20 or 25 or 25 um or 25 minutes sometimes. So yeah, I'm really loving that. And also we also found out who is in fact in that faction with with those like master wrestlers who were abducting people. Well, it turns out to be that the leader of the faction is like a Phantasma, who basically two guys were cornering um, Phantasma and like Drake Maverick, but but Pelican Phantasma around, and then he takes off his mask, and the two uh, other guys were 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 Joaquin Wild and and Raul Mendoza. So yeah, that's going to be very interesting to see where that goes. And like when like Phantasma took off his mask, he like he looks like a combination of like Reigns and 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 Andrade. To me, that was kind of the first
That's
two
where
people
I
who I
gotta
thought of theirs. So
yeah
it
I
was
gotta watch.
pretty.
I gotta watch this
Yes.
either later tonight or tomorrow because
Yeah.
I have
Yeah.
more free
I
time.
would. I would definitely. Both shows were pretty good, so I would definitely recommend that. But now let's get into the AEW Dynamite or um thoughts here. So, so Matt, we had a very amazing thing happen tonight. Le Champion, he was on commentary for about an hour and 15 minutes or so on the show, and he was just excellent as he always is. Just his like quick wit and his some quick witted responses and him just constantly shitting on Tony Schiavone and Excalibur all night were just hilarious. But so we kick off the show with FTR versus Butcher and Blade, or as you refer to them as,
Because we lost the bunny, it's
yes,
now, since it's just two B's, it's Airbnb.
it's now Airbnb. Now it's no longer Bed Bath and Beyond.
Channeling
Now,
my inner cornet.
yes. So then, I must say, Matt, one match in, and FTR are just tremendous workers. Like these guys can
Oh, we
legitimately
knew that.
work.
Oh, we
They
knew that.
can work with anybody. Like honestly, this might have been Butcher and Blade's best match that I've seen. Like this one about like 13 minutes or so. Um, they it was a much slower pace match
Thank you. Thank you.
as you would expect, definitely. And like throughout the whole entire thing too, Matt, they were constantly um shooting shots at Arn and like Tully. So they're continually teasing about a potential four horsemen thing happening.
I
So
gotta ask. I gotta ask.
mhm.
Were there roles in this match?
Oh, absolutely.
Thank
Like
you.
it
Thank you.
just like
Thank you.
it just it was a much more traditional tag match to
More
where
old school in a way.
very very old school, and two a thing that two things here. Number one, with the shatter machine, it's pretty much now a signature move at this point, and now with their new finish, it's going to be a spike pile driver, which they are dubbing it as the Goodnight Express. So so
Huh.
so so that is interesting. So obviously, FTR they get a victory here as expected.
Yes. I
Then
would be.
uh,
I would be pissed if
obviously
they lost.
then after the match we get a confrontation between them and the Bucks here, to where basically Nick and Matt, they were disappointed that FTR didn't properly introduce themselves when they saved them from, as you would say, Airbnb.
Airbnb.
um and 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 with Matt, he was bragging that that they have been carrying tag team wrestling for the last few years. Um, eventually, eventually, Airbnb attack both the Bucks and FTR, and then for some reason, um, um, Kip Sabian and Jimmy Havoc come out, and then eventually Hangman and Kenny come out, and I think that was it. So then we just had a huge melee here. So
Tag team
needless to say,
warfare.
yeah. So needless to say, Matt, AEW's the tag division is amazing right now. Really interested to see where things actually go with all of this. Although I got to say though, and this to me just doesn't make any damn sense. Kenny and Heyman are now defending their titles again for next week against Dustin Rhodes and QT Marshall.
What did? What? Why?
Which I don't know, but
Okay.
that has been made official. But I think it's pretty clear that this is going to be part of the storyline with a QT Marshall and like an alley. I could also possibly see the with that with that tag team being split up or something, because it does really seem that's kind of where they are going to. So so yeah, I mean, and to when they were having a little backstage interview with Brandy Rhodes, she was mad that Allie was like wearing a like a like a like American Nightmare sweatshirt. So they're just continually teasing with all of with all of that tension there. So so yeah. So then we move on to a tag team match between Penelope Ford and like Nyla Rose versus Hikaru Shida and Chris Statlander. I'm not going to lie, I do not care about this thing at all.
I'm shocked.
And yeah, and the finish, I'm not exactly sure what to make of it, because it looks like they're going forward with a title feud between Penelope Ford and Hikaru Shida, which I just don't think is a great idea. I like Penelope Ford, but she's still really green. I just don't think that it's currently the correct time to put her in a title feud, as things are currently
The
going on.
the
You know,
only other counterpoint is who else do you put in? And the only thing going
right,
for her was she's been on TV
right,
the most, basically, maybe outside uh, Statlander, but
and like Nyla, yeah.
yeah, but Nyla just lost, and
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I guess that's the only logical choice because nobody else has really been. It's, yeah, nobody's really been built to face it.
Yeah, and to they like I swear like they've been just cycling around with the same 3 or 4 girls, and it also doesn't help too when Britt Baker hurt herself.
Yeah,
So
that does
so
that
so
hurts.
so that was a pretty big loss there.
Yep.
So yeah, we then move on to a small video package with Darby Allen and Tony freaking Hawk, man.
They got Tony
they were
Hawk.
they got Tony Hawk, man. They were freaking they were skateboarding in some back park or something, and the whole thing behind this was Darby. He still hasn't and like a medically cleared, and then Tony Hawk tells him, well, you can go, well, you can still skate. so, so they just
Yeah,
did
man.
that. I thought that was pretty cool.
They got Tony
Honestly,
Hawk. That's
they got Tony. They got Tony freaking Hawk, who was recently on a Joe Rogan's podcast, by the way, which was a very good podcast. I might add. So yeah, then we move to another Doctor Britt Baker video package, and we're probably are going to be continuing to see this, just like her showing her getting back. We're trying to get back on the amend here. and continue with that. Nothing else to really add here. They're just building her up. I, I, I am, and I'm perfectly fine with them just consistently doing these because it keeps her on TV, and as like we know, Matt, with her, she doesn't need to be actually wrestling to be relevant.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so to say, so yeah, I'm perfectly fine with that. And I would assume that they're eventually doing her versus Big Swole, so we'll see where that goes. Then we get to a 6-man tag team match between the Inner Circle versus Orange Cassidy and Best Friends. And my God, Chris Jericho was amazing on commentary through through this thing. I forgot to talk about this. For the women's tag match, um, Chris Statlander, she was coming out, and like like how like she how she
Oops.
oops everybody,
Everybody
well,
knows,
like,
yeah.
well, eventually she got to Pineapple Pete, and all she hear is like is Jericho. He's like, is that Pineapple Pete? Knock him out! like I'm like he just said it so loud, and it's just so, and like his,
Obnoxious.
yeah, and so obnoxiously that it freaking killed me. But it was just one of the many awesome things about him on commentary tonight. But getting back on track here, Inner Circle versus Orange Cassidy and Best Friends. This was good, and this really built up Orange Cassidy versus Jericho. And although Orange Cassidy, he got a very weird pin win over Ortiz. It was some like backslide or some variation of that in the corner. But after the match, pretty much the Inner Circle just beat the living hell out of Orange Cassidy. They completely busted him open, and then Chris Jericho, he gets a sack from oranges. There had to have been at least ten of these things, and just wails them right over Orange Cassidy's skull. And yeah, he was bleeding everywhere, and it was a really, really good segment. And I'm sure it would have brought you so much joy if you were seeing this live. I really wish that you could have seen this live. And what was
Uh,
what was yeah, and then after that, and then
so much
after
joy. I can't.
and then after all of this chorus, he gets on the microphone. He says Orange Cassidy has been juiced.
Oh God.
So
If you listen carefully,
uh,
you can hear Jim Cornette have a stroke.
oh God, it's going to be tremendous. So then we get to an MJF small promo here. Pretty much he's pretty pissed off that that he hasn't gotten a title shot for either with the TNT title or for the AEW World title. Um, and that he's sick and tired of the dirty looks backstage. So then he eventually gets into a conversation with Billy Gunn, and this is going to set up for a singles match between Billy Gunn and MJF for next week's AEW Dynamite. So got that. Then we move on to Sammy Guevara versus Colt Cabana. Solid match. And this is and obviously I'm Sammy one here. And they're really progressing with the storyline with Colt, who looks to be joining the Dark Order here. Basically, once the match ended, um,
Oh, excuse me.
Stu Grayson and Evil Uno returned this week, and
Oh, he's
and
back! Yay!
yeah, so basically everyone is completely back from the Dark Order. Mr. Brody Lee, he then comes out. He 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 picks up Colt, and then and Colt he follows the Dark Order down the tunnel where they came out of. So so then so then after that happens, um we we have Matt Hardy come out. So I think what they're doing, Matt, with his different personas, he's going to be feuding with his personas with different guys, which I feel is kind of interesting because it looks like with his broken gimmick is going to be feuding with Sammy Guevara because when he came out as just typical of Matt Hardy, who wanted to basically advise him and tell him, hey, if you want to actually be something, you need to get away from the inner circle. I'm like, trust me. And then and then Sammy said, well, why should I trust you? You try to
Run me over with a cart.
run me over consecutive amount of times. So then eventually that Hardy version one showed up, and then and then Broken Matt showed up, and we found out with Broken Matt he wants to kill Sammy Guevara. So that looks like where things
That
are
escalated
going.
quickly.
Yeah. So basically, with that persona is going to be feuding with Sammy Guevara.
I got
And mhm,
yeah. We got what Bandit X91. If you're still watching in the chat, says,
mhm.
"What up, nerds?" So what up?
What
Just
up?
want to get a shout out to Bandit X91.
Sweet. But so okay, what's all right? So then we move on to let's oh we had a video package with
Excuse me.
Joey Janela. Looks like that they're doing some sort of like repackaging with him, and it looks like he's going to be in a tag team with Sunny Kiss. Yeah, so that's happening. Can't wait
That's right.
to see. Can't wait to see what Cornette thinks about that.
I
There.
forgot Sunny Kiss was still a thing.
Yep. So then, we get a small interview with Alex Marvez with John Moxley. Basically, Moxley is pretty pissed at Taz. He's sick of Taz bothering him and talking so much trash. And basically John says, I am one miserable son of a bitch. And then eventually Taz and John start talking trash, and then eventually with Brian Cage, he comes down and just beats the hell out out Moxley. So yeah, this is obviously setting up for their title match at Firefest. And I don't know, Matt. I'm starting to think that there's a possibility that they might put the title onto Cage.
I
Just
I don't know how they would get out of not doing it.
yeah, like to me, I think it's more and more like it makes more sense. I feel at this point
Yeah.
to put the title onto him because I think it's pretty obvious that they aren't going with MJF versus Moxley, and if they aren't, then then I am under under um, under the impression that they should probably put the title then onto Brian Cage, just because I just don't think that there's too many other challengers um, for for John Moxley right now. There's just not enough heels right now. I mean, like if Pac, if Pac was still active, I think like at some point he could have been a guy. But it's just, I mean, if you look, you know, at the current heels that they have, I mean, outside of Cage and MJF, who else is there as far from
Main
a
event.
single standpoint?
Yeah.
Because obviously because obviously Hager's done. Jericho is going to be tied up with Tyson, and Orange Cassidy now. So it's
Yeah.
so obviously that isn't happening. So I mean, like I would not be mad if they put the title onto Cage. I feel like too, it's a great way to immediately make him a very big deal, and to adding Taz there along there with him, I think only helps his
Yeah.
stock. So
You can't put him in the match and he
mm-hmm.
doesn't win,
Mm-hmm.
because then that's a not a bury, but that's a not a good booking decision. So yeah, it looks like both shows, at least going off of you, the two newcomer big man, if you will, are getting pushed
Pushed, yeah,
to the moon,
and,
Alice.
and to both guys and Karrion Cross and Brian Cage are super legit too. Like they are probably two. I would say two of the top five best pigmen going right now, along with guys such as Keith Lee and others
They
as well.
both got their managers slash
Mm-hmm.
valets, um, really helping. So
On top of that, they both stand out from everyone else. Just like and to with Cage, he can work a very high paced style, but he can also slow it down too, and work that. So I would probably put the title onto him. Some people would probably disagree with that, but I mean, like they kind of booked themselves into a corner
yeah,
again,
and
and Mhm.
yeah, and like I just feel like Moxley's kind of, it's probably just again the situation of the pandemic, but I just feel like
His
Moxley,
steam,
yeah,
his
it's
steam is just
yeah, he's kind of just been there
honestly
lately.
him and like Balor, I think really suffered from the pandemic because with the both of them, they were just starting to take off,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
then this hit.
Balor had Walter.
Mhm.
They were building that, and that was going to be
Right.
great. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, Moxley had you had the crowd with him, and then he had the Hager match that was not good. Um,
Mhm.
and
Yeah.
the what was the latest one again? Brody Lee,
Yeah. Brody Lee.
which was better, but it's kind of just there, and maybe Brian Cage can add something into it.
Mhm.
Um, we'll see what
And
happens.
two, there is just like there's just some more people for him to actually work with. It's just like I mean when like when like Moxley has beaten guys such as Jericho, Brody Lee, Hager, and if you're not going with the MJF match, then I would say
Yeah,
screw it and just go
yeah.
and just go.
Who
So
else do you? Nobody else is
there isn't like
worthy at this point.
no. I mean like if if Archer didn't lose, maybe you could possibly do that. But I mean, like with that off the table now, so it's just I would just go with Cage. But if you do have him John win, then to me, I mean, like it's without question, um, Moxley versus MJF is the title match, and we should get a new AEW World Champion. Which, if that does happen, we absolutely will. Especially too with MJF, he has not lost a single singles match yet. I believe the only match he technically lost was when he was part of a fatal four way where he wasn't even pinned. So it's just that's like the only thing that really makes any sense. But to close the show, we had the TNT Championship between Cody versus Mark Quinn of Private Party, and Matt. It looks like we are going to be have Matt Hardy managing Private Party, which
The regular
I'm
Matt Hardy,
mhm,
the one of the many
regular Matt
faces of
Hardy.
Matt Hardy.
Yeah, so basically Hardy is like having two or three separate feuds on the show, which is very I- interesting and like new. Like I'm actually completely in favor of that. There, I mean, like
I'm intrigued.
because because too he doesn't feel oversaturated then since he's doing two or three separate personas. So it's like this can definitely work. And to me, especially with Private Party, they need someone with them to kind of guide them along, because it's pretty clear they're still really inexperienced, still pretty green here. So yeah, as far as the match itself, it was solid. I wouldn't say that it was great, and I wouldn't say that it was bad, but it was solid. There was a nasty 450 that like had like Mark Quinn did, which that had to hurt like hell. He did on top of the on the entranceway, um, from the ring there. So yeah, ouch. So then eventually Cody he wins with a with with some sort of a like calf lock or ankle lock or something. So Cody retains, and then after the match, Jake Hager comes down and he attacks Cody and Arn Anderson, which this then leads to a brawl with the elites, and Private Party with the inner circle. And so it and this was pretty much made official. We are getting Cody versus Hager at like a Firefest. So
Is
that
that
looks
for the championship?
yeah, yeah, for the title. But at the same time too, though, Cody is going to be continuing defending his title every single week. So we don't know. So we don't know yet who he's going to be defending his title against on 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 Dynamite next week. So that still is to be determined, and the show goes off the air with that as well. And Matt, I talked to you about this earlier. Today, there was a podcast with Chris Jericho in the inner circle
Yeah.
that had dropped today, which was about 90 minutes, a little bit below that, where they kind of just talk about how the inner circle was formed, everything involving with the Tyson angle and with the stadium stampede, and they were just kind of just going over it, just kind of how they were thinking and everything going along with that. I would definitely recommend listening to that there. But basically, with the inner circle, how they were formed supposedly initially, Tony Khan or whomever wanted a Pentagon and like a Phoenix in
Yeah,
the
I did see that.
inner circle. But basically, from what Jericho was saying, that they were too gimmicky um for his taste, and and that that he had seen LAX on an Impact or I believe they were on the cruise, I believe, for the first time, or before AEW was a thing, and then he found out that their contracts were coming up. So basically, they were in, and they found Sammy Guevara at some show. I forget where they said exactly, but um but um but he really stood out to Jericho. And as far as Hager was concerned, he really wanted someone who was uh, uh, who was obviously big, big in stature, badass, and supposedly they met up at Dave Batista's gym, where at the time Hager he was training for his for his first MMA fight, and basically he just kind of gauged, yeah, hey, are you still going to be wrestling still? And like he said yes, and then obviously and obviously the rest is history.
Yeah.
And another thing that really stood out to on this podcast, Matt, do you recall that like that weird actor who showed up on the Tyson segment
Yes.
on Dynamite?
Look like a
Well,
raccoon.
supposedly he tried actually fighting Chris during that whole entire segment,
Is he
and
an idiot?
Jericho got really pissed off, and he was like
Yeah.
he was like, who in the hell is this guy? And just like and just obviously what happened, but and a lot of those guys too, they were kind of intimidated too by guys such as like Vitor and and Rashad Evans and all of those guys there. I mean, like it's pretty crazy how they were just describing in specific details, just basically the with the freaking chaos that was going on there. And I mean, like, just from the intention that I got, they're definitely doing something with Tyson.
I would assume
I,
so.
yeah, I mean, like, even to with his tone there, Matt, all signs were definitely pointing to that definitely happening there. And I mean, like, I'm hoping that it does pretty good business for them. And two, with that entire segment there, they got some pretty good publicity there. I think they were on Sports Center, and some other shows. So hey, it definitely accomplished what they needed to be done. But yeah, guys, yeah, as we said, as we said, for this week, no NXT talk outside of the two things that really came out of the show there. But we also wanted to also let you guys know as well. We are not doing a a reaction show next week. We are planning on doing a WWE Backlash show on Sunday, which
It's gonna
which
be
we
the
will.
great. It's gonna be the greatest reaction show ever.
Yeah, sure.
But but I did. There was a report that since they already taped Backlash, that
Yeah.
Edge and Orton was pretty damn good.
Hmm. Well, I mean, it can't possibly be any worse than what the WrestleMania match was. Yeah, it should be a good one. And also, too, speaking of that, on the podcast this week, we will also be giving our WWE Backlash preview and predictions. We're also going to be talking a lot of MMA. There's a lot going on between like Fire Island and Connor and Fighter Pay and a whole bunch of other stuff. Tyson Fury and Anthony Joshua is now signed for 2021. We also have we're going to be talking about the Bruce Lee 30 for 30, which was very well done, and some other things as well. So Matt, I think on that note, we can probably
Yeah.
call it quits here, unless you have anything more to add here.
No, I'm I'm pretty good. I mean, I had not much not much to contribute because I with work I couldn't really watch anything. So I got to go back later. Maybe tomorrow I'll have more free time and at least watch NXT and maybe watch the clips of AEW uh, on
Yeah,
the
I'm
YouTube.
definitely go out of your way to see them FTR versus
Yeah, that's
Air
the,
Airbnb.
I mean like the one thing I'm really interested in seeing.
Mhm. and see your boy Orange Cassidy get freaking just annihilated by the inner circle. I'm sure that will put a big smile on your face. Sir.
Yeah, it's starting to come. I'm just thinking about it.
All right. All right then. So as always, guys, follow our Twitter page, which everything is going to be linked in the description box, as long as well with our personal Twitter pages. Also, subscribe to our channel, like, comment, all of that fun stuff, and we shall see you this Saturday for the